So I decided to give my game, Blinded by Fear, a bit of a makeover. The game looks okay, but it's a bit flat. The image is not particularly dramatic or interesting, and it doesn't really tell a story. We need to spruce it up a bit, and add some atmosphere to really make it pop. For this, we can do some image post-processing. Basically, we can take our frame the game spits out and apply some fancy effects in real time. Luckily, we have some dedicated hardware that can do this really quickly for us, the GPU. We can write programs on the GPU that can take our image and do all sorts of things to it to make it look good. These are called shaders. As with most GPU stuff, we need to do some preparation and arrange our data correctly before we send it to the GPU. I'm using OpenGL. In OpenGL, we can use frame buffer objects to do this. Frame buffers are a collection of buffers that can be used as destinations for rendering. These buffers include things like the depth buffer and color buffers, which are combined to form your final image. We can create our own frame buffers and then render to a texture. We can then give that texture to a shader to do some post-processing. For instance, I can use frame buffers to create a bloom effect. Bloom is a light bleeding effect that comes from very bright lights. By using our own frame buffer, we can render the colors of the scene to a texture, blur this texture in a shader, and then use this blurred texture in our final image to mimic bloom. We can also write a bunch of shader code to add some really cool effects. I went on ShaderToy for some inspiration. ShaderToy is a great website where you can experiment with writing shaders. You can write shader code directly in the browser and see the output immediately, which is really useful. Since the premise of the game is that you can only see through a LiDAR machine, I thought I'd look at how to implement a bunch of screen-like effects, like old CRTs from the 90s. So I started by adding a slight curve to the image. Then I removed some colour from the image. I added a bit of interlacing noise, and then some chromatic aberration around the edges. Then I added a CRT-like effect. And finally some vignette. That leaves a nice retro-style image that fits with the theme of the game. So that's about it for this video. Make sure to wishlist Blinded by Fear on Steam. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and YouTube. I've also created a new Discord you can join. Also, I'm demoing the game at Handmade Seattle this week. The conference starts on Wednesday and you can tune in on Twitch. Link is in the description.